I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night.
I think bar people should get paid way more money. They do a hard job, they don't complain about it, they have to deal with piss heads all the time. Let's support bar workers.
Thank you!
Says he, I never die, says he. In Salt Lake City, Joe says I, him standing by my side. They framed you on a murder charge, says Joe, I never died, says Joe, I never died.
The Dunnes Stores workers asked me to read out a statement into the Dáil record on behalf of the Dunnes Stores National Shop Stewards Committee, and I am happy to oblige, because they are the voice, they are the people that you need to listen to and that other deputies need to listen to. And it says, to all members of the Oireachtas, firstly, we want to start by thanking you for all of the tremendous support shown to all of the Dunnes Stores workers throughout this state when we went on strike last year. Our dispute with our employer is about decent work and security of hours and earnings for all Dunnes workers. All we want is a new contract that reflects the hours we actually work, so we have an income we can depend on from week to week. These flexi-hour contracts are about intimidating workers so management can have a compliant workforce. How can you complain about a health and safety issue or be confident about joining a trade union if you know your manager can cut your hours from 35 to 15, spreading them over 4 or 5 days so that you cannot access supplementary welfare support? This is what's happening all across the retail and the hospitality sector. We are asking all members of this House to please support this bill. If we are serious about ensuring workers have some dignity and respect in their lives, then start by allowing us some certainty over the hours and income. Signed, the Dunnes Stores National Shop Stewards Committee. So I could not have put it any clearer than they did, Minister.
Well, we are calling for an abolition of the sub-minimum rate pay for younger workers on the basis that they're exploitive and they're discriminatory. Sub-minimum rates as low as €6.41 an hour do not give young workers an opportunity of providing for themselves or indeed contributing to society or contributing to their wider family unit. $6.41 an hour, which is 70% of the national minimum wage, which is $9.15, is an extremely low rate of pay. There is no justification for it. We believe it leads to a race to the bottom. The living wage has been pinned at $11.50 an hour, so it's nearly 50% of a living wage. And if a living wage is the bare minimum that someone needs to survive in this country, young people are no different. They need exactly the same. And we would be saying that there's no reason whatsoever, be it based on experience or based on so-called training. There's no need to exploit young people.
It's there you'll find Joe Hill. It's there you'll find Joe Hill.
Well, tell this, Doranza, we're still here, we're still fighting. We're on the last 4 rounds. We have them beaten and we have them on the run. Their latest con job is to talk about recovery. What recovery? What recovery for the 460 Clearly's workers who had their jobs stolen from them by vulture capitalists overnight? What about the Dunnes Stores workers, but only 15 hours a week, who don't know whether they have a week's wages to feed the children, to pay their rent? And my union wants to thank you, the people of Ireland, for your massive support for Dunnes Stores workers and for low-paid workers. It's heartening. We will fight and we win.
I never died, says he. I never died, says he. In Salt Lake City, Joe says I, him standing by my side. They framed you on a murder charge.
There's 3 sort of strategic frameworks that I think I'm trying to delineate really clearly in this new book. So one is advocacy, one is mobilizing, and one is organizing. And And part of what I say in the opening chapter of the book is my obsession is sort of the distinction between mobilizing and organizing. And part of what I'm suggesting is that it's only actually deep organizing that can win really fundamental, deep, sort of radical change in society, in the workplace or in society.
Management and unions have been attending talks aimed at resolving a dispute over proposed changes to conditions for long-serving staff. Unions say they'll press ahead with strike action if no agreement can be reached.
It's the country's largest private sector employer with 14,000 workers across 149 stores. But Tesco is in a serious row over moves to change the terms and conditions of its longer serving staff. Unions say around 300 workers with pre-1996 contracts are directly affected, facing pay cuts of up to 35%, cuts to overtime and changes in their roster. Made all the worse, they say, considering it's a highly profitable company.
The principle of what lies behind this is fundamentally important to the trade union movement, and that is a belief within Tesco Ireland management that they can change the terms and conditions of any of our members without their agreement. So unless they change that position here today, and unless they engage in a meaningful and a full way in this process, we're not going to find a resolution to this dispute. But we're here to do business, but it takes two parties to do business.
Today, both sides arrived at the WRC in an effort to resolve the dispute. It's thought Tesco management argued the changes are about ensuring greater flexibility from staff, but on arrival they were remaining tight-lipped. You guys Tesco? Tesco? The discussions are continuing.
Defend their rights. It's there you'll find Joe Hill.
Staff at 8 Tesco stores have begun an indefinite strike in a dispute over contracts. The supermarket chain wants to move 250 staff recruited before 1996 onto different contracts. But Mandate says the move would affect workers' pay and conditions. Tesco says all its stores will remain open.
A Valentine's message to Tesco: don't break our hearts or reduce our pay. Clearwater in Finglas is one of 8 supermarkets where workers are striking indefinitely against plans to change the contracts of staff who are with the company 20 years or more.
You're losing over 100 quid a week. 103 euro based on the figures that they gave me and I'll have in my pocket.
Like, there's people on more wages than us in our company, like in our stores. Like we're on 14 euros an hour. I don't know how low they want to bring us down, like especially after all the years of service that we've put in.
And from Tesco Bray, we'd like to say good luck to everyone else who is going on strike, and we'll support anyone. So good luck to every other store that's going on strike, and power to the workers.
I had 35 years service with the company. The effect of this dispute is going to decrease my wages by about 35%.
It's work paying conditions. Basically, they want to change our contracts. They want to change our contracts without any agreements whatsoever. Like, you know, it's over a year ago now since they started this against us. Like, people passing by cheering us on as well, so it's all good.
I'm in Tesco 19 years, and I think what the management doing is appalling. Tesco Inc. are trying to savage our rights, our employment, our labour laws.
We are supporting our own future because nobody knows what's down the line or what's going to happen if our terms and conditions are affected. Thanks to the young people, I'm very proud of the young people in our store because they have supported us down the line. They know that if Tesco get away with this, it opens the floodgates to every company, no matter where they go to work, it opens the floodgates to them, and they realise this, and we're so proud of the young people here in Tesco Bray because they ask the right questions.
But first, you may have seen pickets outside your local Tesco store today. What is that all about? Well, fresh from the picket line, some Tesco workers are here with us. Mary, we'll start with you. You're on strike.
Yes.
And you are one of the people affected by the issue which has caused the strike.
I am indeed, yes.
What is your situation? How long have you worked for Tesco?
Right. Well, I've worked with Tesco serving customers for the past 20 years. I enjoyed my job very much, and everything was going okay up until last January, when we were called into the office and told that our contracts by the 18th of April were going to be changed to a new modern contract.
All right, Mark, what's your situation?
Yeah, again, I'm 30 years with the company, serving the customers, and again, like, I'm down about €90 a work out about a week, so I'd be looking at possibly restructuring my mortgage. I took it out in 2008, which wasn't probably one of the best times.
The best time, no.
Plus, I'm not one of the lucky ones on a tracker mortgage either, so like, I possibly will have to restructure my mortgage, because my mortgage is based on my salary, which it's going to be down €90 a week. But because I was on salary, not only that my salary is going to be stripped out, so we get down to a basic week, which as a result will affect my pension as well, which I haven't included in the €90. It'll affect my pension, and we also get a 5% bonus as well. So my 5% bonus will only be on my basic pay now.
All right, Brian, what's your situation?
Well, I'm 28 years, serving loyal for that company, for Tesco, serving customers day in, day out. I'd be down about €50–60. I'm getting married in 5 weeks' time, and it's just...
If the dispute is going on, what happens to the honeymoon?
Well, there'll be no honeymoon. If you're getting probably married at the picket, at the gate or something like that. I don't, the missus is not too happy about that as well either.
Sure, she's not.
But hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully Tesco see lie and leave us alone.
We're in Tesco Phibsborough outside the off license.
Freezing cold out here.
Yeah, it's about 7 o'clock. All of us have been working here for about 6 months. Although the strike does not affect us specifically, it's solidarity for our co-workers. The pre-96 deserve their wages.
For our workers.
Official strike. Please don't cross the picket line. This is far around the corner.
I mean, we're all working together, and eventually it can affect us as well.
We're only new here, so I think the most we can do is get involved in everything and just help out our co-workers and people who have been here for years and years. Workers, they deserve this. Yeah, this is my first experience with union and standing up against things and everything, so it's kind of exciting at the same time.
We're just trying to make the biggest influence we can, so any little helps.
Yep. Or in this case, every little.
I'm Amy. I'm here with my mother. My dad's been working here 17 years. I'm here 9 years this year in June. Well, we're supporting each other. We're supporting everyone, any of the workers in Tesco's. We're all standing as a union together. We're all standing as one. We want to support each other. So we want to show that to everyone that's here today as well, and everyone that else is be watching too. Just like to say hello to everyone that's on strike and stand together, keep going. We'll all keep doing it every day if we have to.
Support the Tesco workers, don't put a picket.
But there's a massive problem of inequality in this country, where the national minimum wage still remains 20% below the living wage. Now, a living wage is a decency threshold for workers. An $11.50 an hour is determined by an independent group. Determined $11.50 an hour is the minimum that workers can have a decent quality of living, and we still have the national minimum wage 20% below that. So that's a scandal. It has to be dealt with. We're calling for it to be dealt with right across the economy, because the inequality in this country is growing and growing. The bottom 50% of the population has lost over 50% of its wealth in the last 30 years. To be fair to Mark Phelan, to be fair to Ismay, they've been against the national minimum wage since its onset. They're against a 10-cent increase in the national minimum wage. At least they've been consistent. They don't want the national minimum wage. They want the law of the jungle to prevail, that you work, you have the hurling fare, and you're picked up in the morning and you work for whatever the employer determines on that day that he's prepared to pay you for. And that is the position of Ismay and Mark. And at least he's been consistent with good times and bad times. He's been always consistent. They're against the national minimum wage. They're against the living wage. They're against pay increases. They want to have an unequal society where we have a polarised view that we have vast swathes of our population living in poverty. And that is just not sustainable, because if people don't have money to spend in the local economy, Mark's small shops and Mark's small business won't have customers, and that's what's happening today.
Where working men defend their rights, it's there you'll find Joe Hill. It's there you'll find Joe Hill.
Comrades, brothers and sisters, Mandate's ongoing struggle to have legislation to ensure security of hours and security of earnings for workers goes back as far as the 2015 Dunnes Stores national strike. The government legislation that we've been promised for so long called the Employment Miscellaneous Provisions Bill 2017, has now been published, and it has a number, however, of very significant flaws that would need to be addressed if it is to properly tackle the scourge of exploitative employment practices. Since last year, our activists, working together with our staff, have organised and continue to organise lobby visits with their local TDs. These TD constituency visits are having a very significant impact on TDs, especially towards focusing TDs' minds on making amendments to the legislation, but also in getting votes from trade union members in their constituency area. We can tell you that nothing focuses the mind of a TD like the possibility of not getting elected for another term. Can you imagine no more gravy train? And as Big Jack Charlton once said, put him under pressure and keep him under pressure. Comrades, we're extremely close to having legislation enacted that would provide some protection at least for workers in precarious employments. Good employers need not worry about banded hour contracts, but the bad ones, they really should worry because the Mandate Massive are on their tails. Finally, comrades, keep fighting, keep campaigning, and importantly, keep supporting each other in the workplace. For legislation on its own, no matter how good it is, will not solve our issues in the Irish retail sector. Capitalism must be challenged continuously by well-organised workplaces with strong, inspirational leaders. People just like you. Our conference theme today is organise, organise, organise. So let's get busy organising. And in the immortal words of Big Jim Larkin, never mind Big Jack Charlton, the great only appear great because we are on our knees. Let us rise up the workers.
Says Joe, what they forgot to kill went on to organise, went on